At a wedding we attended, my spouse murmured to her friend that she'd still choose her former partner over me. I stayed silent, but I caught every word. Let me paint the picture. We were at my cousin Mike's wedding last Saturday. Lovely ceremony, open bar, the full experience. My wife Lisa and I had been wed for 6 years. We were seated at table 12 with her college pal Amanda and Amanda's husband Steve. Lisa believed she was discreet when she leaned toward Amanda during the father-daughter dance. God, seeing this makes me reflect on what might have been, Lisa murmured. You know, if I could redo it, I'd still pick Marcus over him. Marcus, her ex-boyfriend from college, the man she dated for 3 years before we got together. I was right there, maybe 2 feet away, but she thought the music was loud enough to mask her voice. It wasn't. I kept my expression blank and sipped my drink. I didn't react, didn't challenge her, just tucked that knowledge away and kept smiling. The rest of the wedding proceeded as usual. We danced, we drank, we chatted with other guests. Lisa acted as if nothing had occurred. She laughed at my quips, held my hand during the toasts, and played the ideal wife. But I couldn't stop mulling over her words. Sunday morning over coffee, I decided to probe a bit. Great wedding yesterday, I said lightly. It got me thinking about our own wedding day. Lisa smiled. Yeah, it was gorgeous. Though I'd say ours was better. Really? No second thoughts about how things turned out. She gave me an odd look. Second thoughts? Like what? I don't know. Different decisions, different people. Lisa reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Of course not. I married exactly who I was meant to marry. The lie slipped out effortlessly. She looked me straight in the eyes and lied without a pause. That revealed everything I needed to know about our situation. Over the next few weeks, I began observing Lisa's actions more closely. Small details I'd previously ignored suddenly seemed meaningful. How she always appeared distracted during our conversations. How she'd become guarded with her phone. How she'd started mentioning Amanda more frequently, needing to reconnect with her old friend. 3 weeks after the wedding, Lisa announced that Amanda was coming over for one of their girls' nights. Sounds fun, I said. I'll make myself scarce. You don't have to leave. We're just going to sip wine and chat. Nah, you two should have some privacy. I'll catch up on some work in the garage. That evening, I deliberately set up my laptop in the garage workshop, which shares a wall with our kitchen. The previous owner had used shoddy construction, and sound traveled easily between the rooms. I discovered this years ago when our neighbor's dog kept me awake at night. Amanda arrived around 8 with a bottle of wine. They began in the kitchen, discussing work and mutual acquaintances, typical topics. But as the wine took effect, Amanda guided the conversation toward relationships. So, how are things with you and David? Fine. Same as always. That doesn't sound very enthusiastic. Lisa sighed. It's not that anything's wrong. David's a good husband. He's dependable. He treats me well. He's steady. But sometimes I wonder if steady is enough. Like at Mike's wedding, watching him and Sarah, they seemed so passionate about each other. When's the last time David and I felt that way? Marriage evolves over time, Lisa. The passion doesn't last forever. I know, but what if it was never truly there to begin with? Amanda paused for a moment. What do you mean? I mean, what if I married David for the wrong reasons? What if I chose him because he was safe, not because I couldn't picture my life without him? Are you thinking about someone else? A long silence followed. Sometimes I think about Marcus. About what might have happened if his parents hadn't meddled. Lisa, that was over a decade ago. I know, but Marcus and I had something genuine, something intense. With David, it's always felt more like a partnership than a love story. They moved to the living room after that, and I couldn't hear the details anymore, but I'd heard enough. The wedding murmur wasn't just a fleeting moment of nostalgia. It was how she truly felt about our marriage. Amanda left around 11 o'clock. When Lisa came to bed, she was more affectionate than usual. Probably a guilty conscience. The next morning, I contacted my attorney, Tom Bradley. We'd collaborated on business contracts, and I trusted him to be direct with me. Tom, I need to inquire about divorce procedures. Hypothetically, nothing's hypothetical when you're asking your lawyer about divorce. What's the situation? My wife isn't content in the marriage. She's not cheating, but she's emotionally detached, still in love with her ex. Do you have any proof of this? She admitted it to a friend. I overheard the conversation. That's tricky. Overheard conversations can be complicated in court, especially if you were intentionally eavesdropping. What if she admitted it directly to me? That would be much stronger. But David, are you sure you want to end the marriage? Have you considered counseling? I can't work on a marriage with someone who wishes they'd married someone else. Fair enough. If you decide to proceed, I'd recommend trying to get her to be honest about her feelings first. If she admits she wants out, we can do an amicable no-fault divorce. If she fights it, things get complicated. Over the next month, I gave Lisa several chances to be truthful. I suggested marriage counseling. I asked if she was satisfied. I proposed a romantic weekend getaway. Each time, she deflected or offered shallow reassurances. Meanwhile, I quietly prepared for divorce, organizing our financial records, redirecting my direct deposit to a separate account, and copying important documents. If Lisa wanted to keep pretending everything was fine, I'd be ready when the pretense finally broke. The break came in early November. Lisa mentioned Amanda was hosting a dinner party. She invited both of us, Lisa said. Just a casual gathering with a few couples. Sounds good, I replied. What I didn't know was that Amanda had grown uneasy with Lisa's confessions. Apparently, their girls' nights had turned into Lisa's therapy sessions, and Amanda was tired of being the only one who knew how unhappy Lisa was in her marriage. Steve later told me that Amanda had been venting to him about feeling stuck in the middle. She liked me, thought I was a decent guy, and felt guilty knowing Lisa was essentially living a lie. When Lisa started talking about contacting Marcus on social media, Amanda decided something needed to be done. The dinner party was Amanda's attempt at an intervention. She'd invited 2 other couples we'd socialized with before, thinking a group setting might encourage Lisa to be more open about her feelings. We arrived Friday night to find 6 other people already there. Amanda had prepared her signature lasagna, and Steve was mixing cocktails. A typical dinner party vibe. But halfway through the meal, Amanda began steering the conversation toward marriage and honesty. Steve and I were just discussing this, she said. How do you handle it when your spouse isn't being fully truthful about their feelings? The other couples shared their views. Most agreed that small white lies were normal, but significant issues should be discussed openly. What about you, Lisa? Amanda asked pointedly. Do you think spouses should share their doubts about the marriage? Lisa shifted uncomfortably. I think there's a difference between sharing concerns and unloading every negative thought on your partner. But what if those thoughts are about the core of the relationship? Amanda, what are you getting at? Amanda took a deep breath. I'm getting at the fact that you've spent the last 2 months telling me you're unhappy in your marriage and wish you'd made different choices. And I think David deserves to know that. The table fell silent. Everyone sensed something was about to erupt. Lisa's face paled. Amanda, don't. I'm sorry, but I can't keep pretending everything's fine when you've told me repeatedly that you think you married the wrong person. You're taking things out of context. Am I? Because 3 weeks ago, you told me you were thinking about reaching out to Marcus on Facebook. Last week, you said you were considering what it would be like to be single again. Lisa looked around the table at all the staring faces, then back at Amanda. I can't believe you're doing this. I'm doing this because David is my friend too, and he doesn't deserve to be deceived. Amanda turned to me. David, Lisa has been telling me for weeks that she thinks she made a mistake marrying you. She says you're a good man, but you're not the love of her life. She's been talking about contacting her ex-boyfriend, Marcus, wondering what might have happened if they'd stayed together. Lisa stood up abruptly, tears welling up. Stop. Just stop. I won't stop because this isn't fair to anyone. David deserves the truth, and you deserve to stop living a lie. Lisa looked at me, desperation in her eyes. David, she's exaggerating. Yes, I've had some doubts, but every married person has doubts sometimes. Doubts about whether you married the right person? I asked calmly. Lisa started, then stopped. She glanced at the table of onlookers, then back at me. I don't know how to answer that. Sure you do. It's a yes or no question. Lisa sat back down, crying harder now. The other guests tried to act like they weren't watching, but in such a small room, there was no privacy. Yes, she whispered finally. Yes, sometimes I wonder if I married the right person. And Marcus, are you planning to contact him? Lisa wiped her eyes. I looked at his Facebook page. I thought about reaching out, but I didn't. Because you decided not to? Or because you haven't worked up the courage yet? Because I knew it was wrong. I leaned back in my chair. But you still wanted to. Yes. The room was utterly silent. Even Amanda seemed to regret her intervention now that it was unfolding. Lisa, I said carefully, I appreciate you being honest, finally, but I can't stay married to someone who wishes they'd married someone else. David, wait. Just because I have doubts doesn't mean, it means exactly what it means. You think you married the wrong person. You're still in love with your ex. You've been lying to me about how you feel for months, maybe years. Lisa was crying steadily now. I do love you, but not the way you loved him. She didn't respond. She didn't need to. I stood up. I think we should go home and figure out how to handle this. Lisa nodded, still crying. We said awkward farewells to the other guests and drove home in total silence. When we got to the house, Lisa went straight to the living room and curled up on the couch. I poured myself a drink and sat across from her. How long have you felt this way? I asked. I don't know. Maybe always, a little bit. But it got worse after we went to Mike's wedding. Watching him and Sarah, seeing how they looked at each other, it made me realize what was missing between us. Why didn't you tell me? What was I supposed to say? Hey honey, I think I married you for the wrong reasons, and I'm still in love with my ex-boyfriend? Yes, exactly that. Because then we could have worked on it, or ended it honestly instead of you living a lie and making me live one too. Lisa looked at me through her tears. Would you have wanted to work on it if I told you I had feelings for Marcus? I thought about it honestly. I don't know. Maybe. But I would have wanted the chance to try instead of finding out this way. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am sorry. What do you want to do now? Lisa was quiet for a long time. I don't think there's any coming back from this. You'll never trust me again. And honestly, I don't know if I can stop wondering what if. So we get divorced. The next morning, Lisa packed a bag and went to stay with her sister while we sorted out the logistics. I called Tom and told him we were ready to proceed with divorce proceedings. What changed, he asked. She finally told me the truth. How bad was it? She's been living a lie for 6 years. Still in love with her ex, considers me a mistake. Has been thinking about contacting him. Ouch. At least she was honest about it. That should make the divorce straightforward. It did. Lisa didn't contest anything. We divided assets evenly, sold the house, and filed a no-fault divorce. The entire process took 4 months. I heard through mutual friends that Lisa did reach out to Marcus after our divorce was finalized. Apparently, he was married with kids and had no interest in rekindling their college romance. Lisa relocated to another city and started anew. Amanda and Steve invited me to dinner a few months after everything was settled. Amanda apologized for how she'd handled things. I should have talked to Lisa privately first, she said. The dinner party thing was too dramatic. Maybe, I said, but it worked. I got the truth, even if it wasn't pretty. Are you angry with me? No, you were right. I deserve to know. Lisa never would have told me on her own. Steve raised his glass. To messy friends who tell the truth when it matters. To moving on, I replied. 6 months later, I met Jennifer at a work conference. She was recently divorced too, with 2 kids and no interest in pretending to be someone she wasn't. We took things slowly, but from our first conversation, I could sense the difference. She looked at me the way Lisa had looked at Marcus in her memories. The way someone looks at you when you're their first choice, not their safe choice.